Hello, Security Pros. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on today's ESA webinar, Signs You've Outgrown Your Software. When first starting a business, it's easy to use the simple and free tools at your disposal. However, as business picks up, it's important to streamline business operations with job management software in order to stay on task and continue to win new business. This webinar will tackle that task and explain why job management software is the next step in the business life cycle for ESA Association members. I'm Riley Hogendorn, Marketing Specialist at ESA. I'll be facilitating our discussion today. Before we dive into with our expert from Sombra, I'd like to provide some tips for those of you joining us on your first ESA webinar. Welcome. The Electronic Security Association is the largest and longest standing association serving the pro-installed electronic security and life safety industry. Our members are integrators, dealers, monitoring centers, and even manufacturers and service providers in the space. We are the voice of the electronic security and life safety. If your company is a member of the association, thank you. We hope you're taking advantage of your ESA benefits to leverage growth and connections for your team. If your company is not yet an ESA member, check us out. You'd be surprised at the power of membership. Get a feel for all the ESA benefits, including savings on business insurance, training, sales team coaching, certifications that satisfy state licensing, and in some cases, are alternatives to NICET at esaweb.org. You will be muted for the duration of this webinar, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. If a question or comment comes to mind at any point during today's session, click the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, and I'll ensure we save some time for your questions with our speaker. We'll also be recording today's webinar so you can rewatch the on-demand session and share it with your colleagues. The ESA Leadership Summit, being held October 4 to 7 at the Omni Frisco, connected to the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters, is less than 2 months away. Keynotes are slated to lend leadership expertise in winning the talent war, growing grit, maximizing team potential. This executive level education and networking event is where the industry's brightest minds take their teams to the next level. If you haven't done so yet, head over to esaweb.org/summit register to get your leadership team involved. Full access passes to the in-person event and virtual passes for on-demand content are available. Space is limited. We at ESA realize your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of that time with us today. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Renata Nance. With over 15 years of combined experience in the construction and software industries, Renata has the unique vantage point of knowing the day-to-day challenges in contract work, while also understanding how those issues can be improved with the use of technology. As a business development manager at Sombra, she works with hundreds of contractors to improve the stress and bottom line of a business that is always on the move. Nothing is more fulfilling to Renata than to watch her customers grow and get their life back. Renata lives with her family in Kansas City, which includes her husband, 2 kids, all of whom are always on the go. Renata, let's dive in.
Thank you, Riley. Thank you. I am very excited to be here. Nice to meet you today, and I'm very appreciate the opportunity to be part of this webinar. We love working with partners as ESA and kind of helping our customers and contractors in this industry. So before I begin, guys, I want to warn you in advance with my accent and my English is a bit choppy at times. I was born and raised in Eastern Europe, Lithuania, and English is my 3rd language. So bear with me today. And if you had any questions or need me to repeat anything, please just let us know. Okay. Most of my experience come from construction industry, as I got into software a few years ago. When I was in construction, I worked for a general contractor, but most of my construction days I spent on the subcontractor side. It was different industry than electrical or security. but I worked on anything from tenant finished projects, did a lot of hotel, wastewater treatment plants type of project, multi-building apartment complexes, and managed builder accounts on the residential side as well. And in all of my construction jobs, we were constantly trying to keep up with chasing new work, estimating, negotiating contracts. Once we got the work, the issues turned to ordering and tracking use of materials or scheduling, tracking labor, especially on those prevailing wage type of projects, dealing with AIA billing, making sure invoicing goes out on time. And then after all of that, we're still wondering, are we going to need to file a lien? So when we finally had a breather, I always found myself spending time creating a new spreadsheet or some sort of new way to make this very chaotic process easier, or at least more organized. Unfortunately, my ever-changing spreadsheet system were highly inefficient. But I knew there had to be a better way of doing this. So at my very last construction job before Sombra, after years of this disorganized chaos, my employer at that time announced we were getting new software and things were going to change. And of course, no one likes change. You would have had thought our employer had told everyone there would be no more vacation or holidays. I'm not going to lie, I was excited about the idea of something new that might help us as we need it, but I was a suspect as my coworkers because the transition meant extra time and new work that didn't make me money. But I have to say, after it was all implemented and everyone adjusted, we all were forced to admit there was the right move for our business. It was the right move for us at that time because we were looking to scale and to take on new, larger projects. So after years in construction, when the opportunity with Sombra came up, this transition was a very natural move for me as I get to work with business owners as yourself and consult them on operation management and efficiencies in the industry that I have known for years, and I worked myself for years. This is especially exciting for me as with Sombra, we actually get to make the difference in very busy, hardworking contractors' life. And I know, guys, how many hours you guys put in every day and every week. So at the end of today's webinar, maybe Sombra is something for you. And if not, you will have at least learned about what is out there. Because you can't make decision if you don't know what is out there and what's new. So my main goal with you today is to provide you some thoughts and ideas on how to analyze whether you have the right software or right processes in place, right? So we're going to discuss some of the common challenges in security and this industry. Talk about top signs you might have outgrown your software and some of the reasons why you might want to retool. We will go in detail about the importance of picking the right new software for your business and how to identify what that means for you. And of course, at the end of the presentation, as Riley mentioned, I'll be able to answer some questions that you might have. So just follow the directions that Riley gave you where to enter those questions, and we'll get to that at the very end. Okay, so let's talk about what a lot of security electrical kind of integrators experience on a daily basis. Work 70+ hours a week, working late nights and weekends just to keep up. All of the decisions, or most of them, in the office require the boss approval. There are never enough hours in the day. It puts strains on the owner or office manager personal life, so they have little or no vacation time, or a little or no personal time, or maybe it leaves no time to grow and scale their business. So you see opportunities to grow, but inefficient processes keep you so busy that there's no time to take on additional business. Just last week, I spoke with the owner of that medium-sized security contractor who told me, Renata, I am the owner here, the office manager, the estimator, sometimes even a bookkeeper and a captain. So my question was, what happens when you leave on vacation? And as a lot of contractors do, he just gave me a big smile, looked at me and said, I don't take vacations. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Do you feel stuck like this sometimes? My boss here at Sombra always says, you are either shrinking or growing as a business. And I totally agree with that statement because no company stays truly the same. I can't tell you how many times I've heard contractors say, we need to take steps to grow. We will get to that. 2020 is going to be our year at the end of the year. We're going to start this during the holidays when it's a slow time, or maybe it will be our New Year's resolution. Then the excuses. I got too busy. I lost a manager. Someone got sick. Maybe COVID hit my office. And the list goes on and on and on. Other contractors tell me, Renata, I don't want to grow. I have perfect sized team. I don't want to be big. It's just more employees to manage, more paperwork, and more headaches. And they're not wrong, guys. Without a good system and processes in place, growing the business becomes really, really difficult. But guys, let's be honest. You don't need to come to a webinar here to hear what you already know, right? So you're aware of those long hours, long weekends work. What you want to know is how to improve your current systems and processes. And it's whatever you're looking to expand, or maybe you want to keep your business where it is now, but with less headaches and more time to do the things that you really like and matter to you. So this is why you're taking valuable time from your day-to-day to come listen to me. The good news, I might have some tips for you here today. So let's talk about what's the common theme of issues I see with integrators. Usually, there are too many processes, too many software platforms, and too much reliance on a perfection of people. So a lot of contractors are still using pen and paper. Believe it or not, that's everywhere. They're trusting that field techs will bring paperwork back from the field to an office person who hopefully gets to put in one of your software platforms. Some contractors have a spreadsheet or software platform for everything. And that was us when I was working in construction. One for estimating, another for tracking job statuses, you know, what needs to be ordered, what materials came in, what needs to be scheduled. Another to calculate job profitability after we pull data from multiple platforms, another for billing, and so on. Every time this info goes from one person to another, you are trusting that the last person in line is going to accurately put this information into the system. But that assumes it actually made it through all your processes. So what happens if the work order never comes back to the office or gets to you a month later after the job was actually completed? What if someone moves the paper document basket in the office and items missed? What if your office person goes on vacation and gets too excited, you know, before leaving and forgets to enter some information? What if the person that created that fancy Excel spreadsheet with all the dependencies, color codes, is the only person in your entire company that knows how it works? What happens if that person leaves your business? So imagine all those different departments within your business having to exchange information and to collaborate. So if I would have to kind of draw a picture to you guys and kind of explain how a lot of contractors' systems work when they come to me and we start talking at the very beginning of software search process, Usually there is a sales department. They're tracking leads, bids, estimates, somehow following up on the quotes if they have a system to do so. Then it must be reported to operations. It must be reported to accounting. Then we go to operations, right? Where they enter the sales information, enter track material orders, enter the job costing, set up new project, track project status, complete project. When this is done, they provide all of this information to bookkeeping, accounting, and service department for the service maintenance department for the future work. Then service re-enters the information into their system, into their platform or a spreadsheet, whatever that is. They enter warranty and repair items, dispatch and manage schedules, track upcoming inspections, send reports to your customers. Of course, everyone at the end then reports to bookkeeping and accounting, who receives all of this raw data from other departments, praying that is actually accurate. Then they re-enter all this information into yet another system for bookkeeping and accounting. Are you guys getting the drift here? How does your current processes work? Think about it. Another important point you need to ask yourself when we evaluate your current systems: how fast can you dispatch the right technician to the job? So we touched on this a bit earlier, but being able to streamline your project means it will get done faster. So speed, or sometimes referred to efficiency, is a big question you should ask yourself when you are determining if you have outgrown your software or your systems. So let's talk about dispatch and monitoring your labor. As older technicians retire and younger generation is not filling up that gap, labor shortage has become a big issue. And I truly believe that's going to be an issue for the rest of our careers. This means efficient use of what your existing labor is crucial. So let me ask you, or ask yourself, are you able to provide access to a real-time schedule for everyone right now? Can your staff see where everyone is working? Can your office view what projects are happening today? And when I mean that, I mean real time. Know what is the status of your jobs? Which jobs need to be ordered material? Which jobs need to be scheduled? Which jobs needs to be built? Can your office see how long a project is expected to complete? Not just for each project, but for each department in your business. Because having the access to all this information will allow you to make informed decisions about whether you can take on more work, expand your business. I was talking with one of my customers recently. They're a commercial low voltage contractor. They do some video security, access control, gate control, and some cabling. Their scheduling was ran off Google calendars, different calendars for different departments, no collaboration with internal teams. Inspections were done on editable PDFs, then had to be re-entered and reattached to the right job and to the right customer in the office, back in the office. They literally had 2 full-time people just for data re-entry. And I want to emphasize that, 2 full-time people for data re-entry. Techs filled out their time on paper at the end of the week and brought it back to the office. So they constantly were running high on labor on their projects because there was no way of cross-checking tech hours, no GPS or any other capability to track what a tech was doing outside of that piece of paper. So I'm sure this contractor's operations kind of sound very similar to a previous discussed example in the chaos we talked about between multiple departments and how many moving parts could be there in the contractor's world. But efficiency or speed can be an issue at all aspects of your business, right? So how long does it take to log job or project details at your business? As I mentioned earlier, during my construction days, I managed large multi-phase type of projects. it was important for us to track the real-time progress on your jobs. So I'll share another example from contractors world. One of my contractors was super busy at that time. Labor was super tight, but they took on this new project anyway and ended up hiring some last minute labor to help out through roofing. The contractor was busy with our projects because, as you know, you're not running one project. Usually there's a lot of moving parts there in the business. The contractor basically trusted those guys to get the work done. They got the work done, only to find that the labor cost was grossly higher than estimated, and they lost money on that job. They completely lost money on that job. Luckily, that one job didn't put them out of the business for this contractor, although it happens all the time where businesses do run out of business based on one job. But it definitely impacted their business profit for that entire year. So add this to your list of questions when evaluating your current systems. Can your software or systems quickly give you the info you need to find out if your job is on track? And what I mean quickly is clicking one button and seeing real-time progress on the job. And the last question you should ask yourself is, how long does it take you to create and submit the code? Of course, everyone wants the code yesterday, but quickly getting back to the customer and make you look professional helps you to earn their trust as a reliable contractor, and it gets you the work commitment faster. When I worked for GC, part of my job was to gather all the sub bids in order to provide quotes to our customer. We, of course, had a large list of subs to go for each trade. However, rarely did we go to the cheapest. Why? We needed reliability, accurate bids. We needed proposals delivered in timely manner, because remember, guys, we have a customer too. So when you get your bids back to GC, property manager, or whoever is your customer is in a timely manner, it makes them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. And that is your goal, guys. That is your goal in order to earn their business. So far, we've talked about your current situation, what type of systems you're running, how quickly you can code, dispatch, and log a job. But let's face it, guys, it's all about making money and a profit. You would not be here if it wasn't. So we touched on this a bit earlier, but ask yourself, are you able to pinpoint where you are currently losing money? Could you pull a quick report and isolate exactly what projects are losing you money? Does your current system allow you to pull a report that shows you which type of jobs, which departments are most profitable? Calculate accurate job cost. Know what is in your warehouse right now. Allow you to know who your top performer or underperformers are. If not, this is another sign that you have outgrown your system. Because data spread across multiple platforms means you don't really have a complete view of your actual financial situation. And without knowing where you are losing money, you cannot manage cash flow and you cannot improve profitability. So remember the example we discussed a few minutes ago about contractor finding out his labor costs were too high until it was way too late. They had manual ways to track this information, but their systems were so slow and inefficient that the reality of the busy contracting kept from keeping on top of that job. So it's the good news, guys, it's not all doom and gloom. I've discussed all different signs that your software might be preventing you from growth, but luckily there's hope for your business. The right job management software can and will help conquer all those problems. I know I work for Sombra, so you know where I stand when it comes to the best operation management software. But in all honesty, it's easy to get overwhelmed as there are a lot of job management software companies out there. But it is so important to choose the correct software for your unique business that aligns with your business future goals, right? So I am here today. I want to help you to find the best software and help you how to identify that as well. So, but everything starts with having a solid game plan. It's critical that your team is on the same page across all departments. If you want your team to perform its best, they must have the proper tools to do it. For example, most businesses at least have a 5 computers or 20 in the office to rent to operate. I think most of you would agree that computers are a necessary tool for your business in today's world. But it wasn't too long ago that there were people just like you in an in-person seminar telling you about why computer might help your business. Now, we really make fun of those times. How did we ever live without computers and in the businesses? What did we handwrite everything? I mean, if you tell your kids right now, they would be horrified. Looking back, most people would agree that a computer is a proper tool. So what is today's proper tools for construction business, for integrators? We spend a lot of time today diagnosing whether or not you have the right system for your business. Part of that is software. If you want your team to have the right tools for today's world, they need to have the right software to do it. So if you agree with your team that needs to have a solid game plan and the tools to make it happen, then now we need to talk about more specifically about what software options might actually work for you and what to look for when picking one. There's an old saying, measure twice, cut once. That's been passed down from one generation to the next. If you spend time up front to really define what you want and need from your software, you avoid wasting time and money choosing something that doesn't work and leaves you screaming later to get out of it. Just like when you cut something too short, you wasted the material, measure twice, cut once. I hear contractors all the time complaining about the resources, the money they put in, the time they spent implementing the system 2 years ago. And there they are coming back to me now with Sombra, talking and looking for software again. So make sure you do it right the first time. That's why when you are getting ready to search for software, get really specific about what issues you want to solve and rank them. Which issue that we have covered today keeps you up at night the most? Are you finding yourself on Memorial Labor Day or July 4th on the boats thinking about that large project? Hey, I hope we make money. I hope we invoice it. I hope we gotta get some profit on that check. Or maybe it's taking you 3 weeks to invoice some service jobs. Or maybe you're finding your guys traveling back and forth to the office, killing time, trying to get the right material because they don't have it on the bins and they don't have availability to access that information. Think about what would make or break your business. What can and should be fixed right away for you. Get clear on your business strategy and how you plan to grow. So are you looking to expand, for example? Maybe looking to add other locations or services? Do you want to acquire a new business? Maybe go after larger contracts, government work. Maybe you want to plan to retire, then sell your business, and that is super legit plan, right? So at Sombra, for example, we start with a discovery call, which is just a fancy schmancy way of saying we're trying to understand your business, how you run things currently, and what issues need resolution to make sure we're the right fit for you before we even spend your time with our product. So now you are ready to see the product. In our industry, we call this demo. At Sombra, at this point, we understand how you operate your business, and we customize your demo so that you can see how our software can be applied to your unique business. Part of picking the right software is making sure it uses the latest technology. So ask your software provider when you're interviewing them, is it cloud-based? How is the data stored and protected? How quickly does it update? Sombra is cloud-based software, which means anywhere you have internet, you can access your entire business. So now that you will have time on your hands, after implementing the right software, you can finally go on vacation with your family and still keep your eye on the business on the beach or from the boat or a tree stand. With our mobile app, your techs can enter, update, and access vital information from the job site, such as labor hours, material use, previous work history, pictures, notes, check inventory. Sombra updates happen in real time. And I want to emphasize is how important is that. It happens in real time. So basically your office staff can see and access the information right away. This helps your team deliver better customer service and deliver it faster. So just like your company, customer service and support is critical for the software you select. So that's another point you need to evaluate. With a new game plan, you're going to need training, implementation, and ongoing support to make sure your system is successful. I know you're going to be tempted to cut corners and save money by not paying for quality implementation. And I'll tell you, this is a big mistake. If you already made a decision and you're ready to overhaul your systems, it must be done right. And it's going to take time and effort, but you have to invest in your implementation. Sombra has a ton of resources to help you learn how to use the software. And we want to make sure we optimize for your unique workflows and businesses, because different contractors might be using our software differently. So we have a dedicated implementation team that does in-depth customized on-site training with you and your staff so that you can set up software platform that works for your team. We also provide a phone and chat support, searchable help guide, and you also get a dedicated account manager after your initial implementation for your team to make sure you get the most out of the software. Other important things to look at is, so how often do new features get updated and added? You guys are in technology industry, things are changing. Your customers are starting demanding different things. There's a lot of trends to keep up with. We want to know. So you have to ask your software provider, how can you submit the feedback on how certain features work for your business? Because those will change. So at Sombra, customers can submit and vote on features they would like to see added to the software. And our development team target our updates based on our customers' feedback. So essentially, Sombra is an evolving software that is designed by contractors like you. So you guys designed our software, basically. So today we have discussed some common struggles in secured electrical contractors world, what signs to look for when evaluating if you have outgrown your system, and what specific things to focus on when picking the right software for your business, right? So, but it's time to wrap this up webinar, and hopefully I have provided you with some meaningful information and provoked some thought about how to improve your business. So make sure you take the time to consider your business objectives and goals and decide what is the best way to meet them. So now you have the tools to evaluate whether your current system needs a boost. So do your research on various software options. Make sure you make the right choice the very first time and don't let anyone pressure you into sale. So when I work with contractors, sometimes I send them to talk to other software companies because they might not be a fit for us. So make sure any software company you are evaluating are taking more consultative approach versus just pitching their product to you. Make sure they're looking out for you just you would look out for your business. Okay, because you spend 30, 40, sometimes even more years building this business. Maybe your entire family is involved in this business. This is your baby. But ask yourself, are you running the business or is the business running you? How much free time you have? How much vacation and family time you have? So that's where my personal passion comes in, really, about Sombra and what I do today is creating a win-win kind of situation. Of course, I want to be at your business, but nothing makes me prouder than hearing contractor success stories with our software. I truly enjoy working with Sombra and help contractors to get their life back. So guys, if you are convinced that it's time for a change, let me know and we will connect to see if Sombra would be the right fit for you. Whenever it's just a quick 10-minute conversation, full discovery call or full demo. On the next slide, I believe you will see my contact information. I'm also very active on LinkedIn and check my LinkedIn. So feel free to make me your friend on LinkedIn as well. I do want to thank you all here for joining this webinar, spending your time. I know your days are crazy, so I appreciate your time here. And I think we're going to move to the question time. Riley, I'll pass this on to you now.
Awesome. So if you have any questions, don't forget to click the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to submit your question. We do have a few questions for you, Renata.
Okay.
The first one is, are job documents and history accessible in the field for techs with your software?
Yes, great question. The answer is yes. So with our mobile app, the whole point is we want to connect your technicians from the field to the office. So documents, whether are those pictures from the previous job, from the previous visits, specifications on the equipment, or the full list of equipment installed on that site. Any other designs, if you're sending out kind of your technicians to the field for a new large install project, maybe there's designs and drawings that all of it can be available via mobile app to your technicians. Great question. And the nice thing to add to that, you do have capabilities to decide what do you want your technicians to access and what not, because Sombra comes in as your documentation management platform as well. So now you can track agreements, detailed pricing and all that, but maybe that information, you keep it just to the office size. Great question.
Great. So we have another question from Carlos Fernandez. He said, we would like to have a good low voltage software. Can you recommend one, please?
Yes. I would need to know exactly a little bit more about what you're looking for. I work with a lot of low voltage and security companies. I would say our top vertical of customers are in that vertical. That's why we're here. That's why we are a member of ESA. But I would check a couple different options and definitely find my email. Feel free to shoot me an email and we can talk. But I would need to know a little bit more about what specific issues you're trying to solve in your business. As we discussed today, going through that evaluation process, right? What I'm trying to accomplish with software, what I'm currently using, and what's my future goals with the business. So, but Sombra is definitely one of them, Carlos.
Great. Carlos said, thank you, and he'll write you about that. So
Okay,
we have another
awesome.
question from Dwight. He said, can you set your software up to automatically send job hours on a job by job basis, daily, weekly, or monthly?
Yes. Are you probably referring to maybe a larger install project, but yes. So as I mentioned, our software tracks real-time data. So whatever your hours logged in, at the end of each day, you'll be able to track that or your materials. we'll be able to track that data real time. I don't know if that answered your question.
Great. And another question for you. How long does it take to train my staff to use management software?
Yes, and it is very, very important question. So it depends again on what you're looking to accomplish with software. I work with contractors that I phase them in, and we come in and we start with service and maintenance department because that's the biggest struggle they have, and get them onboarded, and maybe a couple months later we get projects in. Some companies want to roll out all different workflows all at once. So for example, at Sombra, to give you a quick timeline, I always say it's about 30, 60, sometimes up to 90 days to get fully implemented, getting more comfortable with the software, right? But I have customers where they start running their service and maintenance department, fully running on Sombra after first block on training on site, and that could be like 40 days into it. And I have customers that need a little bit more hand-holding after their initial implementation.
Great. We have one last question. It looks like if there are any more people with questions, we still have some time. Throw in your questions. This question says, I run my business on QB. How does QB work with your system?
Great question. So I do work with a lot of contractors that are on QuickBooks. And Sombra does integrate with QuickBooks. And it depends how you're utilizing your QuickBooks. You might be running the job costing through there or estimates on the projects, but they might have something else for service department. So what happens with Sombra, we take the full load of operation management from your QuickBooks, from your accounting package, and put all the operations in Sombra. So all the way from your sales team tracking their incoming leads, incoming sales, generating quotes, sending out proposals, scheduling their jobs, tracking job costing, tracking inventory, tracking the time and material being used on the job, all the way through invoicing and detailed granular business reporting. And we push the accounting transactions now to QuickBooks. So your QuickBooks essentially becomes a general ledger for the business because all your detailed reporting will be in Sombra. But we have a built-in seamless integration for QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online. So it is pretty easy transition if you're on QuickBooks.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Renata. That seems to have been our last question. Thank you so much for everything and for everyone that's attended. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact Renata at the contact information on this last slide. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, Renata.
All right, thank you so much, Riley, and thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. I know you guys are busy, so I appreciate your time here.
See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.